Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back, guys. So this video series is going to be called the Holy Grail Trading Concept. It's a series of 5 videos. I'm going to keep it short for each videos, let's say 9 to 15 minutes max. And this is going to help you understand the process that you need to go through mentally, daily, to have the Holy Grail so that you can be consistent in this market. In 2024, I realized that a lot of the time, traders, we learn a concept and we ignore everything that we learned prior. And that's not the purpose of learning a concept. When you learn a trading concept, you need to continue to apply the things that you previously learned prior to this concept that benefited you. The best metaphor I can use to explain this understanding, when you started to walk as a child and then suddenly you started to run, you did not stop walking because now you know how to run. You combine walking and running in the right context. So I'm going to break down 5 videos of 5 ways to observe the market. And when you are about to look for an opportunity to trade, you are going to combine these 5 logic to get the highest probability of success, the highest confluence in your way. The first video, which is this video, we are going to talk about supply and demand, how to draw the zone, how supply and demand can become, how supply can become demand, and how demand becomes supply. And then the next is going to be fractal support and resistance, the Enigma 2.0 with the GAN, and time and price, and ICT concept 2022 variation. So supply and demand. What is supply and demand? Supply and demand is supply is when the price is going down aggressively. So for example, if we observe here, we have all these candles right before the explosion of the price towards the downside. That's an area of supply. The idea is when the market retests this area, as it's a fresh zone, there is a high probability that the market is going to reject this area and then drop. Supply and demand can be applied on any time frame. So here, if we look yesterday on GBP/JPY on a 30-minute time frame, we have an example of supply right here. Observe the difference between this breakout here, where we have an accumulation of candles, right? And then we have these big bearish candles starting to trade away from this consolidation, breaking out, the market retested. That's the first supply, and then they continue towards the downside. That was 2 days ago, right? If you observe previously here, we do not have the same momentum when they are leaving this zone, right? Demand is going to be this area right here where we have consolidation and then we have a big explosion. The market comes back and retests this demand zone. It's a fresh zone. You can buy here. You can exit at the top. Remember when I said supply becomes demand and demand becomes supply? So there it is. So as soon as this demand level gets broken by this area, right? You see the bearish candle to break the demand level, that area can become instantly an area of supply, because supply is that understanding that price is going down, right? So here, when the market is retesting this area on the Asian session yesterday, you can actually look for your sell setup to trade the continuation of this breakout, right? Break and retest. So it's very similar to support and resistance, right? Supply and demand zone has variations, okay? You have ascending zones, you have descending zone, you have horizontal zones. So for example, here is an ascending demand zone. As you can see here, we have a big bullish candle, and then after this we have small bullish candle going up, and then a few bearish candles, and then another explosion with a big bullish candle, right? So here, if you start your zone from this low to this high and you extend it to the right, this area is going to be a demand level. That is why the market comes back here, retests it, and rejects it. Okay, so there are variations of identifying supply and demand zone. Okay, so here is another example of a supply zone. This candle right here, right before the market exploded to the downside, we have a quick retest, and then the market continues to go down. So that's an instant supply that provides an opportunity. That's very easy to spot as well, right? So supply and demand is very important logic that you need to apply and understand. And obviously, the higher time frame you find your zone, you're gonna use that into your logic to be able to find the best opportunity to trade. Here is another example of a level of supply that instead of being respected, it got broken into, and then the market basically, you see, it went above it. They came back lower again into the demand, and then they just went through it, right? Supply becomes demand. But the thing is, when a level gets broken like this, right, you can most likely get, you see, this is reacting to this area of supply right here. Okay, all the candles here, you see, boom, right here. So you see, the market does not really test because, again, observe what I said earlier on, all the small candles here before the breakout. So now look, if we extend this range, right, to the low here, you see the big candle, and then after all the small candles starts, right, you expand this here, that is going to be your actual supply level, right? It's quite wide, but that is where the market is trying to react. Now, when the market is in this area, that is when you're going to combine time, which is the Asian session kill zone, or the London session kill zone, or the New York session kill zone, and you can apply other trading concepts such as the ICC 22 model or the Enigma model. So obviously I'm going to cover that in the next video. So this video is the understanding that supply and demand has variations of zones. So for example, here we have a demand level. You see, we can highlight this right here. The market goes up, shows the intention, the direction. All we got to do is wait for the market to retest. They retest on the PM session and then they start to move away, right? We have another example right here where we have a nice explosion right here of demand, right? And then the market retests on the London session and then continues to go up. Okay, so all these are very important knowledge to have and to use in 2025 whenever you're looking for a trade setup, because you want to have the best edge. You want to have the best edge. So here is another example of supply, and that becomes demand. Why? Because this is a level of supply. Why? Because we have the two candles here right before the explosion of the price towards the downside. The market comes, it fails to provide the supply, the continuation of this intention. The market goes through this level, comes back, find a demand level right here, use this demand level right here, right, to go higher. But observe, when this price is coming here, it has multiple confluence. It has the supply now that becomes demand, and it has the new trend that was created from here, right? So it's a higher low. So you do not forget what you already know, even though you trade ICT concept. Here also, you have a lot of information. Look at the low of this candle, lower than the previous low. The market breaks above this, and then you see that's the last high before they break. They break above. You see how they retested here. Okay, that is where you take your buy trade for the continuation. Okay, so that's supply and demand. That is the first video of the series. I'm going to end it here, and then I'm going to continue to fractal support and resistance.